Gold fell 1% on Thursday as markets have calmed down from the Brexit deal extension. Joining me now to talk about this is Bill Baruch, president of Blue Line Futures. Bill, welcome back.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, we've seen gold test 1,300 earlier this week, but it's just not breaking through. What's it going to take here to break through this resistance, Bill?
You're right. There is a lot of resistance right at 1307, and it did stick its head out above there, and it actually went as high as 1311 on those after settlement price close. But yeah, it was, I think, a little bit due to the Brexit. What we're going to have to see ultimately is some dollar weakness to really get the ball rolling. However, I really like gold, and I'm going to stay bullish gold, but with my base case is yields. And in the treasury yields, I don't see rising over the long term. I think they're going to be going lower, and yields around the world are going to be going lower, and that's going to be supportive for gold over the intermediate and long term.
Right, and also the fact that the Fed has signaled a more dovish stance. Any updates to your view on the dollar because of this?
I do think that the dollar is overvalued up here, but it's a tough one to really sit with and wait for it to go. What I do favor is on days that it spikes up, that you can fade it. I don't think it stays up here. I think their path sort of stays where it is. That you may hear some more hawkish jargon or more dovish jargon depending on what the data is. But as well, it's not just about the dollar, it's about other currencies. And I think that the euro can be a little overdone down in this area. Maybe not after this bounce, but below 112 it certainly is in the near term. So you got to look at what you're comparing the dollar against in order to find that value.
So Bill, what are going to be key levels that gold has to hit for you here?
Well, I'd love for it today at least to hold that 1291, 1293 support. But you got obviously those previous lows, 1280, and you don't want to go below there. That's a good floor right now. A break below that could turn into what we saw last year, where they just started falling apart in June through July and August. Now, as well, you want to see some of the other metals get going, such as silver. But really, for gold more particularly to the upside, again, that 1307 area, you want to really continue to get closes above there. But that trend line, there was a trend line all the way from November that it rode all the way up and it broke 2 weeks ago. That now comes in around 1330. That's going to be, if you get out above there, you know, you're testing those previous swing highs from a few weeks back. If you get above that, you're going to get that FOMO buying to really kicks in, and that could really take that to 1400. I like gold be able to hit 1400 this year. I've said that what I feel like the last couple of years in a row, but there is some really good landscape right now with those treasury yields and the potential of a dollar moving lower.
Yeah, and other analysts have echoed the same to me, Bill. You mentioned silver. Some guests have told me that they wouldn't be surprised if silver actually outperforms gold this year. Do you agree? And how would you play the gold-silver trade here?
I think that's certainly a possibility. What we need to do is see it break out of this range to get people excited. It rallied over the past 2 days, but it failed to get above the 50-day moving average. And I always look at that 50-day moving average in silver as something that, not to trade against, but when it's above it, it could have a path of least resistance higher. And when it's below it, it sometimes has a path of least resistance lower. So we need to first get out above 1560 area. And then we had those previous highs and really close above $16. I think you would get a lot of people excited if we start to close out above $16. You know, one thing I really also want to add before we start to wrap up is taking a look at palladium and the technicals in palladium. You know, because it is so overbought, it can start to get some other metals too, silver and platinum excited, but the technicals in palladium have been really, really good, and there is a bull flag developing there. So if palladium takes that next leg up, I hope it really starts to move platinum as well as silver.
All right, Bill Baruch of Blue Line Futures, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks.
And thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow.